So you're thinking about moving to Atlanta, but you before you do, like you really want to know how the market's doing. And in order to understand kind of where we're at and where we're going, I like to look back. So we're going to do a quick 2021 in review, and I'll give you some context both nationally and here in Atlanta so that you can better understand the real estate market. So if you have any interest in moving to Atlanta or anywhere for that matter, then you're going to want to stick around for that. And we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad of living in Atlanta, Georgia, well then subscribe below and ring that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Atlanta. My name's Denny, and the team and I get calls each and every day from people just like you looking to make the move to Georgia, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving next week, next year, or anytime in between, call us, text us, email us, schedule a Zoom, and we'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to Atlanta. Like I said, in order to kind of understand where we're going, where we're at now, you always need to kind of look in the rear view mirror and see where we've been. And so that's what this video is all about. I'm going to talk about some national data from the 2021 year in review. It takes a couple of months after the new year to really fine tune all that data. And so all that's finally coming out. And then we're going to look at the local Atlanta market specifically so that you can understand what's happening here locally. And then our goal is really to empower you to make good decisions. And I believe that informed decisions are better than uninformed decisions. Like at some point you got to trust your gut and you got to make a move. But that being said, I want you to understand kind of where we're at, where we're going. So last year, 2021, there was just over 6 million homes sold across the United States. Is that a lot, you ask? Well, back in 2005, right before the last crash, we had gotten up to over 7 million homes a year sold. So it had kind of risen to that level. It dropped all the way to just over 4 million homes a year, and then it's climbed its way back. So as the economy has recovered, so has the real estate market. And last year was white hot, but that gives you kind of a broad overall perspective. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Obviously, homes have been appreciating more rapidly than normal. And here's what's going on. Right now, across the entire United States, there is a little over 1 million homes for sale. That is down 21% from the year before. That means about a year before that, or a year ago, there was over 1.2 million homes for sale. And so it is that shrinking of inventory that is causing price appreciation. Here's what happens last month or right now, new listings that have come on the market, 438,000 new listings across the country. Now, contrast that with about when we said over 6 million homes sold last year. So a little over 500,000 homes per month being sold. And with only 438,000 new listings coming on the market, that means we're selling a good, 60 to 80,000 homes more every month than we are listing. And that's what's causing that inventory shrinkage. And so with increased demand and limited supply comes price appreciation. How much do you ask? Homes went up a whopping 15%, give or take 1%, depending on what data you look at, but about 15% year over year. And so the median home price is now $376,000. That's across the entire country. That means, it was 15% less, or about what, 15, 30, 40, about $50,000 less last year. And so you continue to see, again, shrinking inventory, increase in home prices. And so that has led to also the homes are turning over faster. And so we look at a couple of metrics, just like homes sold, new listings, all of that kind of stuff. But then we have the days on market. So when you have this increased competition, this fear of loss, and buyers, have less options, well, then we've had this shrinking of also days on market. And I'm talking nationally. I'm going to get to Atlanta here at the end and put a bow on it. But we are down to 27 days on market for the average home. So that includes the ones that sit there for months on end because they're way overpriced and unrealistic, and the ones that get sold in a weekend. And so 27 days on market is really, really low for historic. We only have 1 month of inventory. And what that means is if we didn't have any other homes listed, then in about a month, we would be out of homes. So if there's no new listings and we sell the ones that are there, then we're out of inventory completely. And so I would like to see that number. A healthy, like a buyer's market is when there's more than 6 months of inventory available, not 1 month. And so it is very much a seller's market still. And later in this series, we're actually going to talk about what that means in the 2022 market outlook. And I'm going to dig into some of these other issues as well. So again, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified when I release new videos. Because if I talked about everything in one video, you'd be here like all night. If there's anything in particular, questions you have, or things that you want me to discuss or share, then obviously drop that in the comments below. I'll always read those and I'll circle back and maybe I'll answer your question. But so 1 month, 1 month supply. In terms of like what are homes being listed for and what are they selling for, like in that competitive place, 42% of all homes listed are sold above the price they're listed for. Now, 7% of them, there's a price drop. And so most of the time it's more, sometimes it's less. Again, those are usually the ones that got a little too aggressive, or something came up in the process and the buyer couldn't follow through, or the home sat for a while. So about 7% price drops. Now that has led to, we look at like overall the list to sales price, and it's 100.4%. So homes are selling at 100% of what they're listed for. And that's nationally. I'm going to go through what's happening locally, just to kind of give you an idea of how Atlanta compares to the rest of the country. But then more importantly, I'm going to talk about like, what's that mean to you? Like, how can you use this information to your advantage? Like, how does that work? And so let me dive into the local stats. And I just went ahead and pulled up our local MLS because I want to give you real data, real numbers. And so when we talk about sales price in January of last year, the average sales price across all of Metro Atlanta was about $285,000. That is now $348,000. So about $65,000 across the entire 22% relative to the country, which was 14%. So that factors in all the areas that are obviously not growing as much. And you know, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, there has been this migration from everywhere else in the country, from the West Coast, the Northwest, the Midwest, and the Northeast, all migrating to the Southeast over the last 2 years. Really, it's been happening, but it's accelerated. And so Dallas and Houston and Atlanta and Charlotte and, you know, Florida and even Tennessee, the Carolinas, all of these areas are growing faster than the rest of the country. And so it does not surprise me that we had a 22.1% increase across the Atlanta metro area relative to just a 14% increase across the rest of the country. What's causing that? Well, new listings from January of last year, 9,362, down to just 7,000 in December. In January, we're at 8,600. So from 9,300 to 8,600. So the volume of new listings coming on the market is shrinking. There were 11,386 homes for sale across the MLS here in Atlanta, and now there are just 9,511 total homes in the MLS. So you're talking about a significant decrease of 16.5% in the total homes available. The closed transactions in the year before was 6,500, and it's just at 6,000. So about the same level. That's not a a decrease in demand going from 6,500 to 6,000. That's really a decrease in inventory, because if there were more homes available, they would move even quicker. But there is limited inventory. Days on market has really gone down significantly too. Well, it was 12, now it's down to 10, really an 8% decrease in days on market across the entire MLS. Some areas are moving in 3-4 days, but overall 8%. So there is 1 month, exactly 1 month supply. So in line with what you see nationally, that's down 16% from last year as well. So there was a little bit more inventory last year, and as a percentage of sales price, it's 100% as well. So a lot of similarities. Really the biggest difference, I think, was in that overall sales price increase, which was 22% here locally versus just 14% across the country. Average price per foot. This is one of my favorite metrics, because if you're trying to figure out what kind of a home you can afford, well, do you need 2,000 square foot, 3,000 square foot, 5,000 square feet? It's $168 a foot, which is a 24% increase over last year. Now that's not, you can look at that in a bunch of different ways. Usually the smaller the home, the more per foot, because when you build a bigger home, it's just more flooring and more paint, but you don't have to get, the vendors don't have to come back twice to do 5,000 square feet versus 2,500. So there's some economies of scale, but it's also, is it new construction? Is it a remodel? Is it original? Like, what's the quality? Is it high-end luxury? Is it, a starter home? Like, what are the fits and finishes? So all that plays into that price per foot. But I think that's a really good foundation, just under $170 a foot. So a 2,000 square foot home would be about $340,000, which is about the median home price here in Atlanta. So what does all this mean to you? If that's what happened in 2021, like what happens in the rest of this year? Or is it a good time to buy? Or how? I will add this: the rates have gone from an average of 2.7 to 3.4 nationally. So the cost of borrowing has gone up. The government was worried about inflation. They were worried about all these prices going up. They were raising rates to try to control that, but it's a fine line, because raising rates means that your purchasing power goes down. And we're going to do a whole video on rates and purchasing power and all of that stuff. But what's this mean? What's this mean for you? Well, here's what it means: that if you're buying a home and well, let me rephrase that. If you don't have to buy a home, if you may or may not move, if you may buy, you may not buy, you may sell and buy, you may not, you'd like to, but it's not really important. Like, this is probably, and you're really unsure, like, this is probably not the market for you. And I know that sounds crazy coming from a realtor, but here's what I mean by that. If you're wishy-washy about whether or not you want to make the move or want to commit to it, then you're probably not going to put forth an offer strong enough to compel a seller to take your offer. It's really the people who are committed to making it happen. And that doesn't mean that you have to waive all the inspections and all the appraisal and all the due diligence and just completely go in unprotected just to get a deal done. Like, yes, it's super, but we're getting our clients under contract all the time and with better terms than they probably should. So it does matter as to who you're working with. But the reality is, it is the buyers who either have to or really want to move. You really are committed to following through, because ultimately what that leads to is confidence in the terms, confidence in your offer, and really putting your best foot forward, because there is someone out there who really, really needs this home because they're relocating or they're moving, or the school system, they want their kid in it, or something happened in their life and this has to happen. So if you're in a like this has to happen kind of a boat, then this is you're going to need a great team to work with, and we'd be glad to help you. If you're like take it or leave it, well, you're probably not. It's probably not the time, because you're probably not going to put forth the offer that you need to in order to get a deal done. When you have less than 1 month days on market, less than 1 month of inventory, and home values are going up. What you can't do is if your budget is $500,000, you can't really go look at 500, 525, $550,000 homes hoping to get like a deal of some sort. Like that's not happening. So it's a waste of time to look online at homes that are at or above your budget. It's a waste of time to go tour homes that are at above your budget. It's a waste of time to put in offers like that. Really what you need to do, you need to look at homes that are at minimum a little bit below your budget. I shared that homes are selling at 100.4%, above list price, which means that there's no discount from the list price. There might be that diamond in the rough that's really not a diamond. It's just rough and nobody has vision and can see it. And we work with a lot of great contractors and lenders that do renovation loans and things of that nature. And you definitely need a skilled team if you're going to go that route, but it's not as scary as you'd think. And we can help you with that. But those are the kind of deals that might not sell for list price. Most of the other ones, if it's move-in ready turnkey, like it's selling. And so with that being said, you really need to look at things that are 10 to 20% less than your actual budget so that you can make really aggressive, really strong offers. And that's ultimately how you're going to get a deal done in this market. So when you're looking, market shift and markets change. I think Atlanta is well insulated because of the growth and because of the migration that's coming in this area, that because real estate's hyper local, markets go up and down. Real estate markets, stock markets, all that stuff. But the local market is what's most important when you're talking about real estate, and Atlanta's booming in terms of economy and migration and job growth and population growth and all of that stuff. So, even if it comes down a little bit, it'll come back faster than most. It's not going to fall as much as like an LA or a Miami or a New York, because those bubble more and crash harder. And we're going to do a whole video and a whole series on all these different moving parts. So if you are relocating, if you need to buy and you need a team who can make sure that you get the best terms and that you put your best foot forward, then we'd love to help you. But even if you don't work with us, I hope just having some information about what happened last year and where we're at today is helpful for you. Like I said, ask comments below if you have a specific question. Subscribe so you can see the rest of this series where I dig into the rates, where I dig into, whether or not I think this is a bubble, whether or not this is a good time to buy. There's just too many factors to consume in one video, but I do appreciate all of you. And if you are moving next week or next year, anytime in between, call, text, email, happy to help you make that a smooth move. Our team is ready, willing, and able. And until I see you in person, well, I'll see you on the next episode.